Humanity, in its essence, is a story of innovation. It is a tale not just of survival, but of a relentless drive to understand, to adapt, and to create. From the very first moment one of our ancestors picked up a rock to shape another, a journey began. This journey is the story of technology. It is the story of us. We look around our world, at the towering cities and the glowing screens, and we see the fruits of this incredible journey. But technology is not just about complex machines. It is about every single tool, every idea that has made our lives simpler, safer, and more connected. It is the very fabric of our civilization, woven thread by thread through millennia of human curiosity and need. Consider the challenges faced by early humans. The world was a vast and often dangerous place. Survival was a daily struggle against the elements, against hunger, and against predators. Without sharp claws or thick hides, we had to rely on something else. We had to rely on our minds. The ability to think, to solve problems, and to pass that knowledge down through generations is our greatest strength. Technology is the physical manifestation of that strength. It is the tool that extends our reach, the fire that warms our homes, and the language that shares our thoughts. It is the ultimate expression of our species' remarkable ability to shape our own destiny and transform the world around us. Our story begins in the deep past, hundreds of thousands of years ago. Here, in the cradle of humanity, the first great technological leap was made. It was not a machine, but a force of nature brought under control. Fire. The mastery of fire was a profound turning point. It provided warmth against the biting cold of the night, allowing our ancestors to survive in climates they never could have before. Suddenly, the night was not just a time of fear, but a time for community, for storytelling, for strengthening social bonds around a crackling, dancing flame. Beyond warmth and protection, fire transformed our diet. Cooking food made it easier to chew and digest, unlocking more nutrients and energy from plants and meat. This surplus energy may well have fueled the development of our growing brains. At the same time, another revolution was taking shape in our hands. We began to fashion tools from stone. A simple sharpened flint, a hand axe, may seem crude to us now, but for an early human it was a breakthrough. It was a knife, a chopper, a weapon all in one. It allowed for more efficient butchering of animals and the shaping of wood, a fundamental step in building shelters. The knowledge of how to create a sharp edge was passed down with immense care. And then, sometime around 5,500 years ago, another monumental invention appeared: the wheel. Initially used for making pottery, its true potential was soon realized for transport. Villages could trade with one another, societies could expand, and the first cities could begin to rise, built upon the simple yet perfect genius of a circle. As human societies grew more complex, so too did their technologies. The period we call the Middle Ages, spanning roughly from the 5th to the 15th century, was far from a dark and stagnant time. It was an era of quiet but steady innovation, a time when crucial new ideas began to spread across the globe. One of the most important of these was the magnetic compass. First developed in China, a magnetized needle floating in water allowed sailors to know their direction even when the sun and stars were hidden. It unlocked the great oceans. Before the compass, mariners dared not venture far from land. The open sea was a terrifying void. But with this new tool, they could navigate with confidence across vast stretches of water. This spurred an age of exploration. Ships could carry goods, ships could carry ideas, ships could carry knowledge. The compass did not just point north, it pointed to an interconnected future, changing the map of the world. While the compass opened the world, another invention was preparing to open the human mind. For centuries, books were rare and precious, painstakingly copied by hand, one letter at a time. In the mid-15th century, Johannes Gutenberg perfected movable type, creating the printing press. It was not just an improvement, it was a revolution. Suddenly, books, pamphlets could be produced quickly and cheaply in vast numbers. Ideas could now spread like wildfire. It fueled the Renaissance, the Reformation, the scientific revolution. The printing press democratized knowledge, empowering individuals and transforming society. The steady trickle of innovation that had characterized previous eras became a roaring flood in the 18th and 19th centuries. This period, known as the Industrial Revolution, marked one of the most significant transformations in human history. It all began in the coal mines of Britain with a problem: how to pump out the water that constantly flooded the deep shafts. The answer came in the form of the steam engine. By harnessing the power of heated water vapor, inventors like James Watt created a machine that could perform work far beyond human or animal strength. But the steam engine was not content to stay in the mines. It was soon put on wheels, creating the steam locomotive, and placed in ships, creating the steamboat. These new forms of transportation utterly collapsed distance and time. Railways spread like iron veins across continents, connecting cities and moving raw materials and finished goods with incredible speed and efficiency. For the first time, people could travel faster than a horse could gallop. This new mobility transformed economies, societies, and even the landscapes we inhabit. The power of steam also moved indoors into factories. Machines for spinning thread and weaving cloth, once powered by hand or water wheel, were now driven by the relentless energy of steam. Cities swelled as people left the countryside to work in the new factories. Alongside steam, another mysterious force was being harnessed: electricity. Through the work of pioneers like Michael Faraday and Thomas Edison, Edison's invention of a practical light bulb in 1879 banished the darkness. It was a clean, versatile form of energy that would become the lifeblood of the modern world. The 20th century witnessed the birth of a technology that would, honestly, redefine reality itself. It began with massive, room-sized machines filled with vacuum tubes and complex wiring, designed for calculating artillery trajectories during World War II. These were the first electronic computers. Clunky and incredibly slow by today's standards, they nonetheless represented a monumental leap. For the first time, we had created a machine that could not just perform physical work, but could also process information. It was the dawn of the digital age. The real revolution came with the invention of the transistor and later the integrated circuit, or microchip. These tiny silicon components allowed computers to become exponentially smaller, faster, and cheaper. The room-sized behemoths shrank to the size of a desk, then a briefcase, and finally to something that could fit in the palm of your hand. The personal computer, introduced in the 1970s and 80s, brought this incredible power into homes and offices. It was a tool for writing, for calculating, for designing, and for playing. It was a universal machine that could be anything its user programmed it to be. But the true power of the computer was only fully unlocked when they began to talk to one another. This was the birth of the Internet. Initially a military project designed to create a decentralized communication network, it grew into a global web connecting billions of people. The Internet has dissolved borders and made geography almost irrelevant. It gives a student in a small village access to the same libraries as a professor at a top university. It allows a small artisan to sell their crafts to a customer on the other side of the world. It is the greatest repository of knowledge and culture ever created, a digital Alexandria accessible to all, forged from invisible streams of ones and zeros. As we stand here in the early decades of the 21st century, we find ourselves on the cusp of yet another profound technological shift. The pace of innovation is accelerating faster than ever before, and the technologies that will define our future are already beginning to take shape. One of the most powerful of these is artificial intelligence, or AI. This is not the science fiction of sentient robots, but rather complex algorithms that can learn, reason, and solve problems. AI is already helping us diagnose diseases. At the same time, we are learning to edit the very building blocks of life itself. Technologies like CRISPR allow scientists to make precise changes to DNA. This holds the incredible promise of curing genetic diseases that have plagued humanity for millennia. It could also lead to hardier crops that can withstand the effects of climate change, helping to feed a growing global population. Of course, such powerful technology also brings with it profound ethical questions that we, as a society, must carefully consider. Our relationship with energy is also set to transform. The reliance on fossil fuels that powered the Industrial Revolution is no longer sustainable. The future lies in clean, renewable energy sources. We are seeing remarkable progress in solar power, wind power, making them cheaper and more efficient than ever before. The quest for nuclear fusion, harnessing the same process that powers the sun, continues. If successful, it could provide a source of virtually limitless clean energy for all of humanity. And so, the epic story of technology continues. From the first sharpened stone to the promise of artificial intelligence, the future may bring us cities that are smarter and greener. But with this great power comes great responsibility. The next chapter is ours to create.